Do you know that if you stop having sex before marriage, or you start controlling your lust, working on yourself inwardly, you realize that a lot of people on this planet have nothing to offer? I started doing that when I was 23 years old. Now I'm 27, which means I started that in 2021 when I think COVID was just trying to come to an end. Coming to an end. And the more I hung out with people, now it's been 5 years serving God and trying to grow in His wisdom. The more I hung out with people, the more I realized that a lot of people, they have nothing to offer. The only thing that they discuss with zeal and passion is money, drugs, and sex. Just those three. And some of them don't do drugs. And because they don't do drugs, they think that they are holy. I'm holy because I don't take alcohol. But they're being driven by lust, they're sleeping around. So their topic is money and sex. They have nothing to offer. And as a woman, I can tell you is that I've come to realize that a lot of men think because they have money, they deserve a good woman. Because I have money, I can do all the evil to you. And you should persevere because, I have the money. And so when you sit down with them to have a conversation, you just realize that they are entitled beings running towards evil and pursuing it with zeal. But they don't want you to say anything. I'm prosperous. And I think that is what the world has shaped men into. Men think that their job is to provide. That yes, you should provide. And that is what the book of Genesis says. You as a man, you should provide. And most of you even feel inwardly, my job is to provide. You don't even have to be told. But that is not your purpose. That is just a smaller percentage of what you're supposed to be doing. We have a world that is filled with men who are not leading their families. They're just providing. They are not participating in the family. They have already emotionally clocked out. Now they think, I'm leading because I'm providing. You know that research says that it's like more than 70% of people, of men who rape women, 70% of rapists are people who are raised by single mothers. And you might say that it's the single mothers who have a problem. But these statistics are just telling us that a man being in the family and not just providing, but participating in the family, being there, leading, brings a lot of positive things in a child's heart. So be a leader. Be a leader. Read the Bible. I'm always telling people, read the Bible. As a man, read the Bible and see what God is saying about leadership. We humans think that marriage was our idea. Marriage was not our idea. So stop taking things in your own hands. Go and ask God, how am I supposed to lead? Some of you provide and think that you're leading. So that is how I've just been viewing men. A lot of men, a higher percentage of men think now that I have money, you should value me. No, I value people who have substance because I've been working on myself and now I have substance. I don't just lean on money, sex, and drugs. In fact, I don't do drugs. Right now, I'm taming myself. I'm walking away from lust. And I'm working hard, but I don't worship money. So I will not value you who worship money. I will value a man who worships money. A man I can sit at a table with and discuss something outside money, drugs, and whatever you guys are worshiping out here. And for the ladies, I've come to realize that a lot of us ladies, they're so obsessed with men. And their standards are, I just want him to have money. Because they have nothing in the heart. There's nothing. You have not developed yourself. You're very lustful. You don't have any standards. So when you're choosing a man, or when you're having this conversations with these women, you just realize they have no substance, actually. And they think that because they're good looking, they deserve to be treated right. So when you start taming yourself and walking in the eyes of the Lord, in what God calls right, and you're taming your lust and you're just becoming someone of substance. You realize that a lot of men think that because they have money, they must be valued, and a lot of women think that because they have looks, they deserve loyalty and to be to be valued. But the Bible is very clear. Charm is deceptive and beauty does not last, but a woman who fears the Lord will be praised greatly. Charm is deceptive. You're good looking, but you're very deceptive, and your beauty is going not to last longer. And when you're 60, I'll just be having an ugly girl who is not wise. I'm straight. I'm just talking in a perspective of a man who values God. And for the men, charm is deceptive. You're very charming and you have the money, but you're very deceptive and you don't have brains. We have to reach a point where we agree that also we have men on this planet who have nothing upstairs. They just know how to look for money. But when you sit with them to discuss something outside the money, they don't reason. I'm sorry to say this, because a lot of you think just because I'm a man, it means I'm wise automatically. But the Bible says that the beginning of wisdom is when you start fearing God, and a lot of you don't fear God, so you've got nothing. And that's why we are unable to lead people. I'm still developing myself, and the more I develop myself in the ways of God, not in my ways, the more difficult it gets, and the more you just see people in a worse way. And I'm not saying I'm judging people, but the more you seek God and you find His wisdom, the more you gain discernment. If sometimes I sit down with myself and I'm like, what could have happened to me if I wasn't serving God from 23 years old to 27? Like, I was so foolish at 23 years old. The kind of wisdom I've gained in that period, I don't even know what I could be doing, man. Definitely I could have dated more than 10 people, and then I just give up and say everyone is foolish. But it's me. The problem is me. I'm not sitting down with myself and just looking inside and calling to God to see how things are supposed to be done. So I'm meeting these people who have no substance like me. If you don't have substance, you will never spot a wise person. In fact, you can meet someone who loves God and just think they're boring, because what you call wisdom is not wisdom to them. And so when you sit down to discuss things, you're clashing. Head-on collusion. Seek God.